We were very small team. We were about 5-6 people when we started Baykar. Right now, we came to a point. Every month, we can manufacture 20 units of Bayraktar TB2. No other country than Turkey ever accepted to cooperate with Ukraine on the field of armed UAVs. We see Ukraine as our strategic partner. So it is one of our ideals and wish that one day in the factory in Ukraine we will be able to build Bayraktar TB2s, Bayraktar Akıncı, and also the new Bayraktar Golden Apple, the unmanned fighter.
В першу чергу хочу подякувати, що знайшли час зустрітися, поговорити про майбутнє, про вже реалізовані проекти і подякувати за вашу багаторічну підтримку України в цій війні. Переходячи до питань, ваша компанія існує майже 40 років. Ви починали як виробник комплектуючих для автомобілів, але перейшли до безпілотної техніки. Що передувало такому переходу? Чому ви змінили спеціалізацію і перейшли до ударних безпілотників?
Yes, first of all, thank you for visiting us, and we as Baykar, we are delightful for what you are doing in Ukraine and your successful work in Ukraine. And specifically for Baykar, Baykar was established, as you have said, as an automotive parts manufacturing company. It was a small engineering company founded by Özdemir Bayraktar, who is my father. He was a mechanical engineer, but at the same time he was an amateur pilot. He used to fly with single-engine planes, and during our childhood we all together with family used to build model planes and fly them. So my father was a very enthusiastic engineer, and he was very interested in aerospace and engineering designs of new airplanes. So then when the second generation, me and my brother Selçuk, came to the age of working under Baykar, Selçuk was doing his graduate studies in the United States. I was also back in the US, and we all together wanted to do something new in Turkey. And in Turkey, when you look at the aerospace industry, there's a time period when the Turkish Republic was established. There's some embarkments and new acts on building our own planes, but then it all stopped. So we all together as a family thought we shall change the game and restart again and do something, not do the things that the world is doing already, but do things, embark on things that are innovative on the aerospace, which will make our country to cope and to be in the competition back again. So in that regard, all together with the family, and Selçuk has a very good technical background. He is, he has his university degrees from the best universities in the US. My father wanted us not to be living in US and working there, but come back and do for your own country. So we all together started development of unmanned aerial vehicles totally with our own capital. So 7 years we spent on this area. Started with small-scale handheld launch planes. We were very small team. We were about 5-6 people when we started Baykar. This is in the year of 2002 we started. So after years of research, we were very successful in the mini UAV development. So we managed to deliver our mini UAV systems to Turkish military in the year of 2007. So it was a long time of research, and on the research we focused a lot on the flight and control systems, on the software and electronics side. We focused a lot and we worked a lot on that one. So UAVs for Baykar actually represents the challenge for Turkey, similar countries, that we can be back on this race again at the end, at the final point, and we can compete with the world. And also, we can be, when you look at these technologies, they are very limited. You cannot buy them as you like. They are very limited with regulations. They don't sell it. So with your money, even you cannot get them. So we wanted Turkey to be self-sufficient, independent, give Turkey the most high-end technology on that regard, and also it's not only for Turkey but for the countries that we have brotherly and good relationships. To be otherwise even if you have the means, money, and everything, but you can still have access to them. So that was that was our challenge, and that was our main motivation when we knew that it will be the new spark in Turkey 20 years back, and this is in our speech and in our even academic publications. This is kind of a spark for a country to showcase a technology very high-end so that everyone feels the proud of it, and also they believe that they can do something new for their country as well. So that's why we started on this one, and we totally then switched our focus on UAV technologies after this automotive business actually.
Ваша компанія одна з перших в Туреччині, яка вийшла на світові ринки. З кількома країнами з 2007-го ви працюєте і продаєте свою продукцію?
Actually, once we developed our products, once we fielded them with the end users, the products gets better with the feedback. So the end user uses it, it becomes more reliable. They tell you what to develop more. So in that fashion, we as Baykar all worked on the field with the military together, side by side. We were not just sitting in our offices or in our factory. We just moved to the field, worked with them together years. And Turkey was facing a very high, very harsh, the terrorism. Since the last 40 years, every day our soldiers were dying. It was a big problem. I mean, it was a very big problem for us. So we worked with our soldiers side by side, and the products proved out to be very good, and we proved them with the feedback. And then once the product proves itself on the operational field, then the foreign interest started coming. And our first export customer, we started with mini AV, and then we moved on to Bayraktar TB2 scale, and then we moved on the high-end strategic, and now we are doing this unmanned fighter jet. So once you prove these products with the customer, the foreign interest is there, because the world has a big need for such platforms. I mean, such platforms which gives you a force multiplier effect, which can do long hours endurance without risking your soldiers' human lives, and you can do a lot of different variety of missions with them. So for our first export customer was Qatar. We exported the mini UAV, not even the Bayraktar TB2. In year 2012, we exported our Bayraktar mini UAV to Qatar. And then for Bayraktar TB2 was fielded in the year of 2015. It started operations. And after that, our first customers for Bayraktar TB2 was also Qatar and then Ukraine, actually. So once these products prove themselves, they find their place in the export market. And right now, our first customers were Qatar and Ukraine. And Ukraine specifically is very interesting. No other country than Turkey ever accepted to cooperate with Ukraine on the field of armed UAVs. It was only Turkey who accepted to work on this technology. And also between Ukraine and Turkey, Bayraktar TB2 became one of the main elements that also binds, that also makes our cooperation on the field of aerospace and defense more closer, more complementary, much more projects followed actually. So you need one success story there for the others to follow, and Bayraktar TB2 was kind of that story within the relations of Turkey and Ukraine, and we created a lot of different projects, a lot of bilateral international agreements between Ukraine and Turkey, and it was a very fruitful. It's a very fruitful cooperation between our countries actually.
Як виникла ідея створити безпосередньо Байрактар таким, яким він є, і скільки часу пішло від ідеї до першого польоту до реалізації?
Actually, by the way, Bayraktar means the person who carries the flag. Our surname means that. So we put the names Bayraktar to all products that we do. So in the regard that they carry a flag, they have a mission and vision for the country and for the friendly countries as well. And as I have said, once we started, we focused the most high value added items in the UAV field. What is it? It's the flight control systems, the software and the electronic side. And we focused with our team on this main critical items, because not only the platform, but also very small details on these platforms. If it is armed UAV or if it is UAV, they don't sell them to you. They are even limited. So if you need to build a very successful UAV, by the way, it is a really unique and newly emerging industry. It's not like an automotive industry where everything is settled. You can buy subsystem parts and assemble them and make something work. But this industry, you need to really you need to develop the subsystems in a tailor-made fashion. To optimize it, it should be reliable. The end user should feel reliable with it, and it should be statistically very reliable platform for it to be effective on the field. So each subsystem on Bayraktar TB2, all the main critical subsystems are developed and made in-house in that regard.
Скільки в середньому зараз завод випускає літаків?
So about Bayraktar TB2, we are right now, when we started, we were only doing one Bayraktar TB2 per month. That was the capacity of our company. But then every year with new investments, right now we came to a point, every month we can manufacture 20 units of Bayraktar TB2. This means every 1.5 days from this factory you have a new Bayraktar TB2. And so which is a good rate. I mean, this is a rate that we ramp up to this level this year, and next year it will be even more actually. So we want to build them in much higher quantities, and so that we are doing this necessary investments in that regard.
У вас працює близько 2,5 тисяч людей на підприємстві. Скільки з них займається безпосередньо розробкою, тобто конструктори?
Right now Baykar is a company where we have young and dynamic engineers and technicians. Our average age is about 30 years old. And every year we accept more than 1,200 university students to do internship here. And right now Baykar, with a total 2,500 people, we are right now. And half of this number is kind of engineers and pilots. The other half is technicians. So we can say we have more than 1,000 people in the process of development of this system. So we have about more than 1,000 people in that regard.
Чи отримуєте ви фідбек і чи відбуваються зміни комплексу за результатами застосування в Україні?
Bayraktar TB2 is operational since 7 years. And it has been used and fielded in many different environments. Hot environments, cold environments, on operations against terrorism activities. It was fielded in Azerbaijan, fielded in some different African countries. So we have seen a lot of different environments, different operational areas. And in that regard, there is as similar in every technology, like cell phones, you have updates to the software, updates to the hardware. It is continuously updated. It is continuously updated depending on the dynamics of the environment. So, we have released hundreds of software updates, hundreds of hardware upgrades. To keep the fleet alive and reliable, you have to update it and develop it continuously. And it's still going on. It's going on. And of course, now in Ukraine, the war is very, it's very challenging, and it's a very big scale, and it has its own dynamics, and there are a lot of things emerging from it. And of course, there are feedbacks. We as Baykar, we have trained Ukrainian military before the war, so they are totally operating their systems. and we as Baykar giving technical support to them. So naturally there are a lot of different updates with the system, and it is to keep the system alive and to support the operations actually.
Як в цілому російсько-українська війна вплине в майбутньому на розвиток світових ударних безпілотників?
Bayraktar TB2 actually, before this type of unmanned systems were not used much in the conventional type warfare environments. And starting with the Idlib operation in Syria and then Nagorno-Karabakh operation in Azerbaijan, this type of systems proved not only be valuable in the asymmetric warfare environments, but also in conventional types of warfare as well. Because it gives you 24-hour situational awareness. It gives you, without risking your human lives, to conduct precision engagements. It helps the other military assets to be more effective. So in that regard, unmanned systems, especially the war in Ukraine, unmanned systems prove that every country needs to have in its inventory such capabilities, and without it, you're kind of it gives you a clear image of the field and very different capabilities that will force multiply the conditions. So the war in Ukraine actually proved that these assets are necessary on the field, and so we can say that actually.
Окрім ТБ-2, що ще ваша компанія могла би запропонувати Україні, і чи ведуться якісь зараз нові розробки, про які можна говорити?
So actually, Bayraktar TB2 is in serial production. Now Bayraktar Akıncı is in serial production. We have delivered Bayraktar Akıncı more than 9 units to Turkish military. We have signed export contracts with 4 different countries. For Bayraktar TB2, we have export contracts with 22 different countries.
22? 4?
4
okay.
Countries. So actually, now we are working on the unmanned fighter project, which is very new, and we are solely financing it. And it will be a new league actually on the unmanned systems arena. And on the project of Akıncı and on unmanned fighter, we are cooperating with Ukraine in a very close fashion. Ukraine is one of the few countries who have technologies on the engines. So you have very good and effective engines, and our close coordination and cooperation also helps Ukrainian engines take their place in the UAV market. So Akıncı made its first flight with Ukrainian engine. Now we integrate more different Ukrainian engines to it. Unmanned fighter is going to be equipped with 2 types of different Ukrainian engines. So these are our main platforms that we are working. But of course, we are as well on the smaller scale platforms. We have some products. We have mini UAV. We have vertical takeoff and platform. We have also other types of products in our inventory where we want them to work in coordination with these main platforms. So we build smaller scale platforms as well in Baykar, working together with these main platforms.
Які саме платформи зараз найбільш затребувані? Рівня ТБ-2 чи рівня Акıncı, чи можливо якісь інші?
Right now, as Bayraktar TB2 and Bayraktar Akıncı is in serial manufacturing, we have demands for both of them. So our company is like we have a fair amount of order book backlog, and we are kind of our company's operations are kind of booked for about 3 years right now. So as the systems prove themselves on the field, more countries are willing to, are interested in them. And specifically for Bayraktar TB2, it's a system where the performance to cost ratio is high. I mean, it's a system with a, you know, you don't pay as much as you need to pay for a fighter jet, but instead you can get a whole system, you can establish a fleet where you can control the borders of your country. When you can do 7 days, 24 hours endurance surveillance activities in your country with a much less cost than paying for a fighter jet. And even if you have fighter jets, these assets helps them to be more effective. So it's kind of an attractive product in that sense, and also it's reliable. Like it can fly under jamming environments. It can fly all types of weather conditions. It has very high-end networking system on the ground. It's very flexible, and with the antennas and the network structure on the ground, it's well established. So it's kind of became an attractive product in the UAV league actually.
Минулого року Україна і Туреччина підписали меморандум про розгортання спільного виробництва байрактарів і створення заводу в Україні, враховуючи нинішню безпекову ситуацію, чи продовжуються переговори, чи не змінились плани будувати завод?
Actually, you know, we see Ukraine as our strategic partner. So we have a long-term plan on the projects with Ukraine. And we had a lot of projects actually, and we as Baykar, you know, we embarked on building a factory in Ukraine, a research center and manufacturing excellence center, where we wanted to build all the systems, not just on the fuselage, but the electronics, the software, everything we do here. We had that vision. And on that regard, we move on with our plans, by the way. So we have our investment plans moving on ahead right now. And so these agreements, we are kind of doing the project planning. We are in the project planning phase, and soon we want to start on the real physical investment as well with them. We already have a structure. We have a company in Ukraine. We already have a technical and engineering team that supports Ukraine already. But also we want to now to make it Ukraine a manufacturing base. So it is one of our ideals and wish that one day in the factory in Ukraine we will be able to build Bayraktar TB2s, Bayraktar Akıncı, and also the new Bayraktar Golden Apple, the unmanned fighter. So Ukraine, because they are using, these two platforms are using Ukrainian engines, so Ukraine will become, with these platforms, where you do the engines and the platforms and the other subsystems all together in one country. We think this is a very strategical, it will be a very strategical achievement that will benefit not only Ukraine but also Turkey as well, and that will bring our relationship in a much higher level as well.
Ну і останнє питання. Чому все ж ви вирішили підтримувати Україну і чому саме Україну?
You know, it's more than now 5 years we are working together with our Ukrainian friends, and we have built a lot of things all together on years and to make our countries more close to, because I personally believe the relationship of Turkey and Ukraine is a complementary, win-win type relationship. We are neighbors, we have Black Sea in between, we are very close neighbors, and there is nothing negative on, possible negative on anything, and so I always believe that this strategic relationship will benefit both of us, and years of effort we have put on building up these things. It has created a lot of friendships We have been together with many different Ukrainian authorities all together. We have done a lot of plans together for our vision ahead. We already cooperate on many different areas, so it's kind of it's our duty actually to do our best for Ukraine to support its homeland, to defend itself, and beyond everything. I mean, beyond these things, Ukraine is facing Ukraine is facing this aggression, and it's totally baseless and meaningless. No one knows why. What's the aim behind this? So we as a humanitarian responsibility, we feel for the suffering of the people, for the civilians also. So all these things together makes us gives us the responsibility to do to support and do our best for you.
Дякую вам. Дякую за розмову, дякую за підтримку, яку ви і ваша країна надає нам у цій війні. Дякую.
Thank you very much. And once again, Taras, I would like to thank you for your efforts that you do with all your team to your country. It is very valuable. And I would like to let you know, all our prayers and support is with Ukraine, and we wish for this war to end and for Ukraine to proceed and progress with its under its own sovereignty, move ahead in a peaceful way. Thank you.
Thank you.